What's happening, financial coaches? It's Pete here. I want to talk to you today about eating frogs. It was kind of interesting. I actually went on a trip to Florida with my Boy Scout troop one time, and we went to this restaurant, and frog legs were on the menu. And one of my friends just was curious. He's like, I want to order them. And you know what? You get a set of frog legs, man. They look like they are right off the frog, except without the skin, and they kind of taste like chicken, but they're not my thing. Anyway, that is not the eating the frog that I was talking about. You may have heard the term eat the frog. It's actually fairly common. It's used in a couple books. I think it all stems from Mark Twain. And so I tried to find the quote here, and I think I found it. Mark Twain said, "If it's your job to eat a frog, it's best to do it first thing in the morning. And if it's your job to eat two frogs, it's best to eat the biggest one first." So what does this mean, right? And I'm bringing this up because I can think of this as relevant to you possibly in two ways, and it's worked for me, and that's why I'm bringing this up. One, as you are building your financial coaching business, you probably have the frog or frogs to eat. But the second thing is, as you take this idea, maybe internalize it, use it yourself, when we are working with clients, there are often things that they don't want to do. And this goes to health coaching, life coaching, but also financial coaching. And so, how can this concept help us help them tackle the things that they don't want to do? So let me talk to you about this here a little bit. Basically, all it means is that if you've got something that you don't want to do, you want to do it the first thing in your day, because the reality is most of us can figure out a way to say, hey, I'm going to do this first. I like this first, and then I will do that. And then you get to that point and you're like, you know what? I'll do it a little later in the evening. And you're like, you know what? Most of the day we just went by. I'll get to it tomorrow, right? It's basically procrastinating things that we don't want to do because we'll figure out a way to push them off. But if we force ourselves to tackle it as the first thing we do and say, hey, I don't get to do anything, I don't get to do the other things that I want to do until I eat the frog, then we get some of those things that we don't want to do done, right? Does that make sense? So I want to give this to you in kind of my most recent experience here, is that I've had to write. I've been working on some writing, and it's been a much longer content writing than I'm normally used to. I mean, tens of thousands of words in this. And so basically, it's not something I can just do in one sitting, but I want to make progress. And as you write, at the beginning, it's pretty easy. But then as you kind of continue to get into the minutia and you're building courses, or you're building material and educational material, writing all this stuff, it starts to lose its luster a little bit. It starts to become more of a chore, even though you know the information. And so what I've said is, this is going to be my frog, right? Basically, when I get up in the morning, all right, I can grab a coffee or a drink or something like that. But what I can't do is I can't, catch up on the news or check my phone or look at what the futures market is or any of that stuff. I don't even allow myself to get showered and out the door. I can't run any errands, nothing. The first thing I have to do is write. And what that means is I get up, pour my drink, throw on some comfortable clothes, and I sit down on my computer and I write to whatever the chapter or the block of text that I need, whatever is natural. But that just forces me every day to write. And now I'm getting pretty close to the end here. And it's kind of nice because in some ways, I think I've made a lot of progress a lot faster than a lot of people think. And in some ways, from what I'm talking to some other people who have been doing some of the similar writing, I'm doing it much quicker. And I think that's all because I have made it an eat the frog moment. I have made that the first thing I can do, because there are things I want to do. There are, emails I want to respond to and comments online that I want to respond to and those types of things. And I don't let myself get there, right? And so until I get my frog out of the way, get that frog down, I'm working on that. And so that's helped me. And it's helped me in some other things too, right? This is just the most recent example. But I bring it up because if you're building a financial coaching business, one of the things that you probably have are your frog moments. You probably have multiple of them. As a business owner, I know that there are a lot of things that you want to do, from taxes and all these other things. Things for me too that I need to get done. And so maybe it's recording a video that you want to put on Facebook or your LinkedIn page or whatever it is. Maybe it's a follow-up email that you need to send out. Maybe it is a newsletter that you need to write. Whatever it is. Figure out what are those things that continue to slide down your to-do list because you're pushing them off. It's a procrastination mode. It's avoidance mode. You need to do it, but you don't want to do it, right? And figure out what those are and just pick some bite-sized one. I'd say, no pun intended, but I knew what I was doing. But just pick some bite-sized ones and say, listen, this is something I can get done in 30, 40 minutes, all right? So that's my frog moment tomorrow. Before I do anything else, I'm just going to get that done. I'm going to force myself to get it done. It's going to feel so much better. Now you're not going to have that hanging over your head, right? Driving a bunch of unnecessary tasks usually during the day so that you can just avoid the tasks that you don't want to do, right? You'll find yourself cleaning the cobwebs out of every corner of your house before you'll do some of these tasks. You'll be like, oh, it was very productive. But all you were doing is trying to avoid the things that you didn't want to do. So I bring this up because if it works for you, if you can figure out how to do it and say, hey, listen, maybe it's a 10-minute task or a 5-minute task. It doesn't really matter what it is. But if you can make some of those unpalatable ones, the first things that you tackle, get those out of the way, free up your day, know that you accomplished something that you didn't want to accomplish. And if that process works for you, it's something that you can use when you're working with your clients. So your clients are saying, listen, I know that I should put $1 away into my piggy bank, and I just can't do it. How about this? Every day you get up and you go through the change in your pockets or whatever it is, or you go to your wall and you pull it down and you put it in your piggy bank, right? Bad example, but I wasn't sure what else to do. So for some people, it's, a health goal, right? I know I should just walk for 10 minutes. I have a treadmill downstairs. I just don't do it. How about this? You don't get breakfast until you go and walk on your treadmill for 10 minutes, or, take out the garbage or whatever, all these things that you don't want to do. But in finances, there are a ton of things that people don't want to do. Maybe take a risk tolerance questionnaire online. Maybe take a values assessment online. Maybe it is to read one article or to listen to one podcast or whatever it might be. And so the tough things for people to do that we're having trouble helping figure out a way to get them done might be an eat the frog moment for them. Maybe we can just say, listen, how can we make this the first thing that you do in the morning? And maybe they only need to do it for a certain period of time, a few days, maybe one day. But I think it's pretty amazing that if we can get those things out of the way early, make progress in a week where we weren't being able to make it, can be really empowering for clients, because now they say, hey, I didn't want to do that and I did it and it wasn't that bad. And look, now we can move on to the next thing, the thing that I want to do, right? Maybe it is, I don't want to, I know I need to inventory all my debts before I can really come up with a plan, and I just don't want to do it. I don't want to look at my credit cards. I don't want to log into my bank accounts and my credit card accounts and all that stuff. Well, how about this? You don't do anything else tomorrow morning until you do that. Just how long will it take? Half an hour? 20 minutes? Right? Just suck it up first thing in the morning. You're going to log it in. You're going to write down all the balances or whatever. You're going to send those off to your coach. And then now we can move on. And then we can come up with a plan. We come up with a strategy. We can inventory what you have and then come up with a plan for it. So eat the frog has worked for me on many things. Hopefully it'll work for you as you're building your business. But most importantly, hopefully it's a strategy that you can use with your clients to help them get over the hurdles that they have on their financial life. That's it. See you later.